What about this business about the testosterone level that they check for in the Olympics, and when it's a level playing field, they allow trans women to compete in women's sports? What about that?
Yeah, so it wasn't until actually relatively recently that we finally studied whether there was a relationship between your natural internal, what we call endogenous testosterone that has not been altered, and your sport performance. So we know that when you add testosterone exogenously, which is what we call doping, that there is a performance advantage. But it wasn't until about 2017 that we finally learned that there is no relationship at all between your natural unaltered internal testosterone and your sport performance. And that's true for all genders.
So if all of that is true, the one thing that is also true is that men tend to be stronger in many sports. I mean, their serves in tennis are faster. They run faster, hammer throws longer. So there are, there's some data, it seems, to show that there is a difference. But if it's not testosterone that makes the difference, what is it?
Yeah, so I have two things to say about this. The first is, remember, if we're talking about trans girls in girls' sport, then we have to talk about the difference between trans girls and cisgender girls, not boys and girls. Or if we want to talk about women, then we have to talk about trans women compared to cis women, not men compared to women. The second part of your question was about, like, well, what is it? What produces this performance difference that we do see between men and women? There is a performance difference. They are faster on the track. I cannot keep up with them. That is the truth. Well, the truth is we don't know. We do know now, finally, after all these years, that it isn't as simple as testosterone, as natural testosterone. That is not the reason. There are elite world championship level men with natural testosterone below the women's average, and they are competing at no disadvantage to men with 100 times as much testosterone. So there are certainly maybe some biological reasons for men on average being bigger, stronger, faster than women, but we do know that there are also social reasons. So we encourage boys, we give them sports toys as presents versus girls not getting sports toys as often. We encourage boys to climb trees and we discourage girls because it's too dangerous. We encourage boys to get buff and we say girls are going to be too manly if they have muscles. All of these social effects have performance difference effects on men and women that we don't know how big that difference is due to those social effects.
Are we even asking the right questions here? Because this has been really difficult to understand. It sounds like we're not even on the right playing field
You're
here.
not. So what you should be asking is that inclusion is the default and that sport is a human right. And that is how the International Olympic Committee puts it. They say that participation in competitive sport is a human right. And so the inclusion has to be the default, and you have to have tons of evidence to justify excluding people, and that evidence does not exist. It's all based on assumption, and it's all based on comparing boys to girls or men to women, when that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about trans girls versus cis girls, trans women versus cis women.